Good evening. Great to see everybody here tonight at 6 o'clock. I'm calling the meeting to order. Will you call the roll, please?
Yes. Mrs. Webb?
Here.
Mr. Kleinfelder?
Present.
Mr. Beckman?
Yes.
Mr. Gunther?
Here.
Mr. Young?
Present. Would everyone please stand and join the board in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Dr. Rice, would you lead us in a review of the agenda, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Young. After we go through our formalities of approving the agenda, reviewing and approving corrections of minutes, we do have just a few items. It'll be a shorter board meeting tonight. Approval of OHSSA Board of Education and Governing Board Resolution, just our partnership, our yearly partnership with the Ohio Athletic Association. We'll go through the reports from the legislature, Butler Tech, have an opportunity for public comments. Then we go into superintendent reports and recommendations, where we'll go through personnel. We will look at student handbooks tonight, a contract through Forward Edge, which is a technology service contract, and then we'll approve that membership for the Ohio High School Athletic Association. And then I will turn it over to Mr. Castaner for treasurer's reports.
And under the treasure section tonight, in addition to our normal monthly reports, we have a couple items of note. One being a curricular purchase for HQIM materials for grades 4 and 5, English Language Arts curriculum, and also approving our school fees for next year for 25-26.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Kleinfelder?
Yes.
Mr. Beckman?
Yes.
Mr. Gunther?
Yes.
Mrs. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes. Thank you. For those of you, there are copies of the agenda back there on the table by the door, if there's anybody that would like to look at the agenda, follow along. All right, next is approval of minutes. Looks like we have two sets of minutes here to approve. We'll do them both at once. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of our February 20th and February 27th board meetings?
I'll make the motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay. Hearing none, will you call the roll, please?
Yes. Mr. Beckman?
Yes.
Mr. Gunther?
Yes.
Mrs. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Kleinfelter?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes. The minutes for both meetings are approved. Thank you. Items for board discussion. Dr. Rice?
Thank you, Mr. Young. Item number 6, items for board discussion, as mentioned earlier, the OHSSA Board of Education and Governing Board Resolution. This is our yearly commitment to that athletic association between ourselves and them. Please let me know if you have any questions. Pretty straightforward stuff.
It's an annual approval, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have anything on the legislative report tonight?
Yes, I'd like to go over a couple things here. We got a Senate Bill 66 that's going through the system. It talks about including emergency levies, substitute levies, inside millage, all towards the 20 mil floor. We'll kind of keep an eye on that because that will affect a lot of what we have to work around here. House Bill 153, it requires state and school board members to be nominated by primary election and to appear on the ballot with the party designation. House Bill 145, it would raise the minimum number of school hours. So it would be 27 hours for part-time and 53 hours total for the year for all-day kindergarten through 12th grade. So we're well over that already with our current school hours, so I don't anticipate any changes or anything. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're plenty okay as far as.
Yeah, I mean, we would only run into a situation if we had several calamity days. Even this year with a few of them, we would still be okay.
Okay. And lastly, there's a House Bill 156. It would authorize a property tax freeze for certain owner-occupied homes. It's coming out of Cincinnati, so we'll see. We'll just kind of watch that one and see what that'll do. It'll basically freeze people for permanent disabilities or people over the age of 65, and there's some other requirements for that. But it's something that could affect our income at some point, and go from there.
Any thoughts on any of that, Dr. Rice?
Pay attention. There's a lot coming right now. I mean,
Right.
yeah, they oftentimes, a lot of these bills will be slammed into the biennial budget, and you'll ask yourself, why does a budget become a whole bunch of different laws? That's what they do. They throw riders on there, so just pay very close attention. What is proposed through the governor's biennial budget will not be what we see on June 30th. It will change 101 times, so just be in tune to what's going on and be contacting your local representatives and let them know how important these issues are to us.
Okay. Thank you. Butler Tech Report, Mr. Kleinfelder?
Yeah, I was at the meeting Tuesday night, and a lady came up to me and goes, "You remember me?" And I made a good guess, and I said, "Mrs. Smith." And she goes, "Yeah, Tracy Turning Smith, who used to teach
Oh.
business here."
Uh-huh.
And I probably hadn't seen her 25 years or so. And she goes, "I'm shocked that you remembered me." Well, that isn't who I thought it was. I thought it was Murda Smith, who used to teach math here, but I ended up getting it right with Mrs. Smith. She had a student there, Lily McFarland from Northwest, that was getting a state DECA award, and kind of a phenomenal student. And then on top of that, they had the Empower Awards for Teachers of the Year, Administrator of the Year presentation. I've handed out to everybody the all boards meeting is officially on May 1st. Dinner, part of that is 5 to 6, but it will start at 3 and go to 7 with various showcases going around every building. If you scan this QR code, it will give you a calendar of what's going on in welding, or if you're interested in biomedical or want to go to bioscience or natural science center, one of them. They're also doing, to get all the kids through, they're having a showcase only presentation that you're still welcome to attend from 4 to 8 on April 24th. It's kind of interesting if you go out, the kids, there's a lot of cool things that they've done and got themselves together to put stuff together. And it's either kid, maybe, 5-10 minutes at tops each, and then they'll run through, if they got 12 seniors in some class, they go run through, everybody gets a shot to do something. It's pretty neat, and the dinner will be fantastic. Culinary arts kids do a really good job with that. That's in the tent out in front of where the auditorium into the building. They'll have a big tent there for dinner, 5 to 6.
So are these presentations, there'll be presentations here at Ross? It
No.
says-
At all, just, they have not farmed this out to satellite kids yet.
Oh, so it
Showcase.
says all Butler Tech high school campuses.
Yeah, high school.
They mean their campuses.
They mean their campuses.
Okay, got it.
Bioscience,
Gotcha,
natural
gotcha.
science,
Okay.
D. Russell Lee.
Right, okay.
So, and they approved 27 different policies and 2 bylaws. Once again, I think the cell phone law is going to change again. Over-counter meds, some stuff like that, but it's interesting that they're finally letting seizure kids carry their meds with them if they have parent permission and doctor permission, so that you don't have to send somebody all the way to the office, kid's having a seizure, and, finally somebody said, "Hey, why don't that kid have it on his person?" So finally some common sense coming through, but probably not a whole lot.
So
And
50 years Butler Tech's been there. Pretty nice.
Yeah, billboards all over town or all around, you see
Yeah,
'em.
yeah.
I just had a discussion, Dr. Rice, how much they spend on advertising annually, quite a bit. So,
Right. You're
but the
tight.
showcases are really good, and like I said, dinner's gone. You're supposed to RSVP, and I'm sure I'll get a email from Jess asking me to remind everybody again.
Yeah, I'd like to encourage board members to attend, if at all possible. I think Butler Tech's a pretty amazing place overall, and I think everybody enjoy seeing the presentations and the meal. Will there be a presentation at the dining event, or is that just dining?
I think that's just in and out eating.
Okay, all right.
They will give you a packet when you get there, and they'll have some, I think last year Precision Machining made some coins, tokens. And then if you liked the presentation, you could give that to a kid at whatever various sites you went to. And then there's a procedure for giving feedback and that kind of thing. So,
Okay, great. Anything else?
nope, that's good for me.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it's a time of the meeting here for public comment. We have had a request from Aaron Gibson for public comment. Mr. Gibson, we'd like to, there's a maximum of 5 minutes permitted, and I'd like to have you come up to the microphone if you would, so we can make sure we hear you, and thank you very much.
Welcome. I gave every board member a handout I had printed out. There was a lot of concerns, even on media outlets, of parents, guardians of kids being bullied in school or not fair treatment. Some of our concerns that I wanted to address was that of school security. Parking lot, hallways being monitored. Even a sheriff officer that I had talked to had stated that he does not like the security measures here at Ross. He feels that's inadequate, and I have to agree. I just wanted to bring a lot of these issues to your guys' attention, just so you can see what a lot of parents have been complaining about and various guardians. And there I made a list of everything and tried to touch base. Thank you for your time.
Have you spoken to anyone in the school administration about any of your concerns prior to tonight?
This is my first approach.
Okay. I'll just,
Yeah, Mr. Gibson and I spoke last week about a different matter, so I will reach back out and make sure that his specific concerns are addressed.
okay, thank you. And you can follow up with us if you're not satisfied with what you're hearing from any of the administrative team, okay? All right. Thank you for your input, and we appreciate it. Okay, moving on to the superintendent's reports and recommendations. Dr. Rice?
Yes, thank you. We'll begin tonight with personnel under letters A. Want to highlight one specific new employment, Ms. Sarah Kiefer. Many of you may recognize that name. We're extremely excited to have Sarah back with Ross. Sarah, just if you could humor me just for a little bit here. Sarah was an integral part of our district before her time at Madeira City Schools. She began her career as a teacher in our district and played a key role in establishing the district instructional technology specialist position that exists today. Sarah brings a wealth of knowledge about our district, our teachers, our students, and our community. She understands our programming and has contributed significantly to developing many of the systems and processes we continue to use today. We are thrilled to have her back home in Ross and to leverage her knowledge and experience to support the important work that we are doing now and in the future. So I wanted to highlight that specifically. I'm sure many of our staff members know and are excited about that. So we do have one resignation. I do want to highlight this resignation. This is for a paraprofessional position at the high school. We have shifted some resources from another building where we feel like we had an additional staffing position in the parapros to the high school, so we will not be refilling that position. But we are still meeting the needs of all of our students through the paraprofessional positions. And then one leave of absence under personnel for child rearing. Any questions about letter A? Letter B are the 25-26 student handbooks. They are linked in your agenda. One thing I do want to note in there, the fees are not updated. Later on this evening, we will talk about fees. Once those are updated, they will be folded into the handbooks as well for next school year. Any questions about the student handbooks? Letter C is the Forward Edge Technology Contract. I do want to speak specifically to that. As we approved a couple of months back, Robin Baker is retiring from our district. Thank him for his service. This contract provides services that position previously handled. We have spent the last several months researching services and negotiating with Forward Edge. We have a previous relationship with Forward Edge, and you'll see inside that contract a couple of different dollar figures. Not the bigger dollar figure, but the two smaller dollar figures were things that we are already spending with Forward Edge, so those are going to fold into this contract as well. Replacing Robin's position through this contract will save the district approximately $35,000 each year, and it does reduce our administrative staff by one across the district. So any questions about the Forward Edge contract? And lastly, what we spoke about earlier, item D, copy of the 25-26 membership to the Ohio High School Athletic Association.
Okay.
That's all the items I have for us.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendations, items A through D?
I'll make the motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion or further questions about any of those items, A through D? Okay, not hearing any. Would you call the roll, please, Mr. Castater?
Yes. Mr. Gunther?
Yes.
Mrs. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Kleinfelter?
Yes.
Mr. Beckman?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Rice. Okay, Mr. Castater?
Yes, we have 5 items tonight, letters A through E. As I mentioned, letter A is the HQIM ELA curriculum purchase for grades 4 and 5. Letter B is our updated school fee list for next year, 2025-26. And then C, D, and E are just our normal monthly reports, our investment summary from Red Tree. We do have a handful of donations tonight to approve, and then the cash summary and financial snapshot document as well. So letters A through E blocked together for one vote.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve items A through E of the treasurer's report?
My motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on items A through E of the treasurer's report? Okay, not hearing any. Would you go call the roll, please?
Yes, Mrs. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Kleinfelter?
Yes.
Mr. Beckman?
Yes.
Mr. Gunther?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes. The motion passes. All right. Board committees. Do we have anything from the Finance Committee?
Nothing added. Steve did a good job on that, so I don't, just kind of continuing discussions on where we're at, where we're headed in the future. You know, it's a budget coming up. We really, you know, the future is unknown at this point. You know, we're good right now, but it could change as soon as some of these House bills or Senate bills go through, and we have to reevaluate. So always kind of teetering on the edge is what it seems like.
Well, that's true. And we don't want to lose sight of the fact that the current proposed budget cuts our state funding by almost $500,000. So while all may seem well, on the horizon is what I would consider to be a fairly significant cut in our funding over the next 2 years. So that's a concern, as always. Anything from the Facilities Committee?
We have not had a meeting since the last board meeting.
Okay. Okay. All righty. Are there any other comments from the board members? Mr. Kleinfelder, you have anything?
Not tonight.
Okay. Mr. Beckman?
No. Again, I just wish Robin Baker success in retirement and looking forward to working with Forward Edge.
Mr. Gunther?
No more comments? No?
Mrs. Webb?
Just one, something exciting that I got to be a part of last week. We took several students to Columbus to compete in the state DECA competition. And we have 18 Ross kiddos that qualified for nationals, which I think is like historic. I don't think, and I mean, I've been doing this for a decade, but I've never seen like this many kids, especially from Ross, qualify. So they are all going to be going to Orlando, Florida next month to compete in the international conference. So super exciting.
Well, it's a nice place to have to go, isn't it? And Butler Tech takes care of that expense, is that correct?
Correct, yes.
That's correct, good. All right. Very nice. Okay. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session prepare for, conduct, or review negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms or conditions of their employment. Need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Mr. Kleinfelder?
Yes.
Mr. Beckman?
Yes.
Mr. Gunther?
Yes.
Mrs. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes. I would like to add that the board will come out of executive session, will not take any further action except to adjourn. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here, and we wish you a very good evening.
Almost